I'm Big Mike with Big Guy Treadmill Reviews and Bikes.
Action.
And bikes. Treadmill. And bikes. Treadmill. And bikes. Hi, this is Big Mike with Big Guy Treadmill and Bikes Review. We're going to talk about the Nautilus R618 today. Now this bike runs $799. This is a very basic model in a lot of ways, and I want to go over little things that we look at when we're talking about recumbents, because treadmills are quite a bit different. We talk about durability a lot, which again will be a key component still, because I do want to give you reviews for big people, because that's something we always see, right? We see the 115-pound model on there and she's comfortable. Well, everybody's comfortable when they're 115. So with that said, little things to look at. It's got a nice step through, right? Something to note right away on the pedals. These are pressure fit pedals. They're not the real nice ones that you can just sort of slide in and out. So sometimes it's hard to adjust the pedal straps. When we talk about these, a lot of people struggle with them. The seat is adjustable. It does have a pressure fitting. So when we slide up and down, it actually doesn't pop in, and it's a little hard to do when I'm not on it. But if I push here, it's a pressure fitting. It's got a 325-pound user capacity, and the bike's about 107 pounds. For $800, that's kind of what you get, a very typical console here. But I want to take a seat again and actually give you a little review while getting on it and see how it feels. So this will be now the second time that I've actually touched this seat, because I just got it before. I'm going to put my feet in here. Right off the bat, the first thing that I can tell, this back is made of plastic. It's super hard, and it's really narrow, and it's actually pinching in on my kidneys right there. Again, I am a big boy, but I don't know that I like that feeling. Let me just try to adjust it, because it does adjust. That's not, no. If I'm leaning back, it's a little bit better. It kind of came up a little higher, but it's not a very comfortable seat, and it feels very cheap, which it is. I mean, it's $800. The seat is very firm on the outsides and really soft in the middle. Kind of got a weird gushy feeling. That's the only way I can describe it. It's interesting. The pedal's really wide, and this is something we call the Q factor, right? The spacing here is super, super wide. So this feels kind of like I'm pedaling. Like, this is not a natural motion like on a bicycle, where your feet are a little bit more narrow. This is a cool feature, though. I just noticed this when I was sitting down, that you can actually adjust the tilt. So it does make reaching the buttons easier. It does give you a little bit of, like, if you have a bad angle. Granted, it's a digital display. Now let me go ahead and crank it up here, just see how it feels and see how it sounds. It was making a weird whining noise when we plugged it in earlier. That could have been just a brake being released or something like that. Something that should be brought up right now, and I'm going to do it in a lot of the recumbent videos. You don't have to worry about flywheel. Flywheel is a spec that doesn't matter anymore. Certain companies still do include that, but honestly, some of the best flywheels on the best bikes now are like 8 pounds. There's a lot of different ways that they make them. Servo motors are different. You know, we're using magnetic resistance instead of mechanical, where we're dropping pads down on heavy flywheels, and really flywheel is not a huge component of quality. Very, very rarely, and I would say, I don't even know, less than 5% of issues with recumbents are going to have anything to do with a flywheel. I mean, that is a very, very minor thing to worry about. Speakers got to be very cheap. I'm not going to plug in. We don't worry about electronics too much here, Big Guy. Sitting like this, it still is a very uncomfortable seat. Unfortunately, Nautilus, I mean, hey, they did their best. They brought a $800 item to the fold, and to be honest, you should be getting exactly what you expect here. This is not a top-end bike. Will it do if that's all you have? I suppose, but I wouldn't. It really wouldn't get my endorsement with what I've just felt. And I know this is a very short amount of time to sit on something, but comfort is the biggest thing here, right? I'm a big, tall guy, so I can see over this console, but it is a pretty big, long console. If you had a TV relatively close and you were shorter, you might struggle to see over this. It does have handles here to get up, so that's nice. The frame does feel good. But like I said, the seat was uncomfortable, and the biggest factor on recumbent bikes, hands down, if that's not comfortable, you are going to get off and you're not going to ride it. Because one of the questions that we get quite often that come in would be, hey, does this thing go really, really low? Does it go really light? Because I'm working on knee rehab, or some of our elderly folks out there are looking for something that's just going to help them get the motion and get blood flow. They're not looking for heavy resistance. It starts at 3, which is really weird. It's very, I don't know. I've never seen that really be a thing. We should start at 1. Most brands are going to start at the easiest resistance and let you work your way up. Personal preference. When I put it down at 1, again, pedaling out wide, it's smooth, but it still kind of feels, I've been on bikes that feel a lot easier on 1. It only goes up to 10, so if you're a resistance junkie, you're not going to get that. Adjustability wise, the seat here, I'll tell you right now, this is as far as it can go. I'm 6'4", and I don't have the longest of legs, and this is right at max for me. So I'd say if you're over 6'4", this bike's not really going to work very well for you. Also, the adjustment feels like sand in it. It's like metal on metal with maybe a little bit of lubrication from some sort of plastic there, but over time that's going to get worse. And again, this seat adjusts, but I can't imagine that that's going to feel comfortable, and especially comfort for a lot of the seniors and stuff who are going in, are wanting a soft mesh back. They're a lot more breathable. This thing is very warm feeling, and it's very, very stiff, and it's digging into my sides with this weird little angle on it here. So I wouldn't imagine that this hydraulic is going to hold up very well either. Again, that's typically what you would see with a $700, $800 bike. So just wanted to give you a couple more thoughts, a few more things to actually go over that sometimes I may miss in the initial go around. So thank you. Comment below saying I subscribed, and we will do our best to reply to every comment.